Hello, everybody. And in my last video, I talked about how God creates and uses vessels of honor and vessels of dishonor. He hardens people's heart to go against Him in order to fulfill a specific purpose. And I think there's a lot of parallels that can be drawn today with what I talked about with regard to Pharaoh hardening his heart. Pharaoh hardened his heart and didn't let God's people go and worship God because he wanted to keep them slaves. Today, in the world, we have a cabal, a group of powerful people that own the world's wealth, own the world's media, own pretty much every institution in the world, trying to enslave us. And really, they have enslaved us. We're all a slave of this beast system, and it's just getting worse and worse, and it's getting more obvious and more obvious. And before I get too deep into this, I think it's so obvious. I think half the world is asleep, and they still buy into the crap that's going on. I think half the world is open to it. So I don't know. I don't see where the deception is. I know there's going to be a big end time deception, but the lie of eternal hell, the lie of human free will, I think that all plays into it. But I think there's going to be a deception on a worldwide scale that brings in the Antichrist. And I don't know if there's going to be some good being that's going to overcome all this evil once it's exposed, because I just think it's exposed too much. I mean, you have to be a complete zombie, walking dead, can't have a thought of your own being that can't see what's going on in this world today. Anyway, God hardens hearts, and He's hardening the hearts of the people that are forming this system. See, God has prophesied, He's used prophets to discuss what's going to happen in the end times. What's going to happen in the end times is there's going to be a system in place that causes people to worship the Antichrist. I think it starts with self, the self will, human free will, and humans looking to humanity to be their saviors, and replacing God and looking to government to provide for them. And then through all the manipulation, people are subservient to that. They comply, and before they know it, everything they have is attached to their worship of this system and worship of the Antichrist or the head of this system. But God is setting that system up. Yeah, He's using Satan to do it. That's His left hand man. Satan's exacting all the evil, and he is behind all these government entities, and he's setting it up. But God has hardened these people's heart towards Him for a specific purpose. Because that kingdom, that evil kingdom, this beast system needs to be set up to give everyone the ultimate look at the depths of Satan. Scripture talks about the synagogue of Satan and the depths of Satan. We're going to see evil manifested in a way that is unimaginable. We're already seeing it today. But God is setting this up for us to see the depths of just how evil Satan and just how evil this beast system is. So that once God comes and destroys it and frees us from this enslavement, we're going to be able to understand the depths of God that much more. Because that's talked about in Scripture too. The depths of God. What is the depths of God? Well, I think in order to fully understand it, we have to go through the depths of evil to just see how degenerate society and people and subservient, bowing down to this evil beast system, and how this evil beast system just eats people up and destroys children. That's the very depths of Satan. We have to see how bad and evil it can get before we're delivered from it, and then we can actually see the depths of God, because the contrast is we look how evil Satan can be, that just glorifies how great God can be. Because we go through the extreme evil, it's going to give us an appreciation and joy of the extreme good that is God. It's the ultimate contrast principle. And Satan has years, a short time, Scripture says, to exact this evil. God has forever and ever to use that evil as a contrast to give us greater joy once Jesus Christ brings us all back to Him. And once these evil people who God has hardened their heart to form this system, once we're all delivered out of it, then even they will come back in as the vessels of dishonor that they are. And God, through His Son, Jesus Christ, will bring them home to be with God so that God will be all in all. In the meantime, a big middle finger to them, but they are just serving God's purpose. They're vessels of dishonor like Pharaoh, and they have to do that. The system has to form. In order for this evil system to form, there has to be people that are doing specific things in a detailed way to form that system. So it's all of God. He's hardened their heart, but He needs to do that in order to create the system that He had planned since the very beginning of time. And everyone will answer and give Him account for what they did, but ultimately it's God's plan. And when those people with the hard hearts exact their plan and go through their judgment, God will bring them into the fold as well through Jesus Christ. But I think a big reason why people that can't see this beast system operating today is because they don't believe in God, or they believe that God is far away. And so they don't believe that this evil that is being set up is from Satan. They think, oh, this will pass. This, a fake, a pandemic that has occurred. They think it's going to pass and things are going to go back to normal. You have to be out of your mind. All of this and everything that governments are doing are trying to exact control on you. And all of these hard hearts. You look at God hardening hearts. Look at the worship of Hollywood. Hollywood for years has been communist. People literally sell their soul to Satan to get fame and fortune, and because they do that, they have to exact a political ideology that helps form the beast system. This is well documented. And now, the NBA, the MLB, the NFL, sports have gotten just as bad as Hollywood. Talk about idol, worshiping these athletes. And I'm guilty of this. I was a basketball guy. I grew up just outside of Chicago during the Jordan era. I admired these guys. I will never watch another professional sporting event ever again in my life. I can't even watch college anymore because college is getting the same way too. These people that they get all these followers to look up to them, and now they're spreading ideology and division, like this LeBron James character. I mean, there are people that have a specific agenda that have been told what to do, and they're creating division and hatred among people. The immigration process, these people who are just letting people in without vetting them, they're trying to destroy the culture of America. They're trying to destroy the culture of America by separating white people and black people, Asian people, creating all this violence so that everybody hates each other so that they can come in and be the solution. Who was it? Who was the general? Yamamoto from Japan in World War II who said, I don't want to invade America because there'll be an American behind every blade of grass with a gun. Because we were united against a common cause. Now, like Henry Kissinger said, another one of these New World Order thugs, said years ago, Americans would be outraged if the United Nations soldiers came in to this country. But very soon, he said that they'll be welcoming it. Why? Because these soldiers from different countries, Chinese, Iran, the UN, they're going to come in to help us from hurting each other. That's why they want to cause this division in this country, so that we'll ask for troops of a foreign country to come in just to quell the chaos amongst ourselves. So a while back in World War II times, every American was united to fight this. Now we're going to be begging them to come in to help us. And then once they help us, we'll see, we're here. So they injected themselves into our society because they caused a division that welcomed them. And now we don't have a country anymore. That's the objective of these people. LeBron James, almost every Hollywood actor. The education system. The education system teaches you all this. Colleges don't teach you how to be a free thinker, how to make money. They mold you into what the New World Order wants you to be. And that goes all the way down, and it can be proven through the Gates Foundation, the Carnegie Endowment, all these, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds that form these education systems that direct curriculum, all the way from kindergarten up to college. Defunding the police. What kind of joke is that? They do that because they want the world police to come in and take over. They want to create chaos so we can bring in a system and rely on that system even more. They want a world police that's run by the beast. Climate change and Agenda 2030. Have you looked at research some of this stuff? It's a joke. It's all about control. They want to take away your car so you can't use electricity, you can't buy food or use water, you can't live in the country, you have to live in high rises in the cities so that you can be monitored. I mean, this system is sickening. And the Georgia Guidestones that was planted right in our face, telling us what they're going to do. And Bill Gates has said it, Ted Turner has said it, all these, I would say, people that God has hardened their heart, wants to depopulate the earth to 500 million people. From 8 billion to 500 million. That's 90% of the world's population they want to kill through this, through starvation, through the systems that they're putting in place for climate change. And I'm going to do some videos on the specifics of this here a little bit later. But my point is that people can't see it because they don't believe in God. And they don't believe that God is here. So they can't believe that a system's being set up to oppose God. So God is using these people, these individual people in Hollywood, in the education system, athletes, immigration, the racism, the perceived racism. If you don't buy into what the media says and just live within your own community, in my community, white people and black people, Asian people live together in harmony. There's disagreements, but none of it's based on race. It's only what the media is trying to do, trying to create a narrative and then inject it on everybody to accept that that's how things are, but they're not. But the people that are in the media, these sickos, again, hearts are hardened. God has hardened their hearts. They're vessels of dishonor. Hollywood, media, education, athletes, immigration. And I'm not against people coming over for a better life, but the policy is to disperse people to destroy America. That's what the policy is with immigration. The church denominations, everyone's different because they can't focus on the one true thing, which is the fact that Jesus Christ bought salvation for all mankind because of his death, entombment, and resurrection. That's it. That's all. Some have a special salvation and they get in first, but salvation is secured by Jesus Christ alone. All these denominations want to come up with their own rules and laws to control you, to say that they have salvation. You have to follow their rules in order to get salvation when Jesus Christ already did it. If people understood that, there would be no denominations. The government has taken away our freedoms. Why? So that they can control us. And they can give some of our freedoms back if we do exactly what they say. That's exactly what the church does. This government that we have has taken away our freedoms, and then they want us to act a certain way. Then they'll give some of them back. Well, you had no right to take them away in the first place. That's what the church does. Jesus Christ bought salvation for everyone because of his death, entombment, and resurrection. And now churches and denominations hold that over and say, you follow the rules, I'll give you this salvation, when they never had the right to take it in the first place. It's all based on what Jesus did. And if they didn't have these, they wouldn't. If people knew that, then they'll never be controlled again. But people want to be controlled because they don't really believe in God. But God uses these vessels of dishonor, all of them, and all these compliant sheep he uses as well to form this beast system. And when this beast system is destroyed, we will see the depths of God. And even these lunatics who God has hardened their hearts, even in the end, the very end, they'll be saved because of the death, entombment, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. In the meantime, big middle finger to every single one of them.